Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May.
Welcome to this week's episode of Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach and lash educator. And this week we're going to be staying on the topic of social media, but jumping more into like the mindset side of it, because a lot of times when we talk about using social media to grow our beauty businesses, some of the negative side effects that can come from it and that I hear talked about often are like the burnout that comes with it, the time consumption, the comparison game, the fear of showing up on social media as yourself. And, how do you navigate through these things in your business? I don't think that that's talked about enough. And I truly am one that really believes that social media is a very powerful tool to be able to grow your beauty business and build your clientele very quickly with like the least amount of overhead and time spent. And so I'm going to share with you today 6 different boundaries that you can set with your social media for even your personal use on it, but especially your business use of social media, so that you can get more effective results from it and still build your clientele on it and have burnout and comparison and time consumption be a lot less. So like I said, I don't think this is talked about enough in how to navigate these things, because that is one of the, some of the negative side effects that can come from using social media. And I want you to be able to overcome those things and be able to grow your business and use this amazing free tool that you have with social media to build your business. So the very first boundary, or just tip, I guess, for using social media is just being intentional with your time. You can set time limits for yourself if that's something that you feel like is beneficial for you. If you have like an iPhone, there's like the way you can set your time limits for certain apps, and it'll tell you and like kick you off at the end of your time. So that is a tool to utilize if that's something that's going to be beneficial for you, especially if you're finding yourself like mindlessly scrolling a lot. That could be really helpful. But then just also like, I feel like so much of our social media use does get sucked into like mindlessly scrolling and getting distracted and, spending more amount of time on things that we didn't intend to when we first got on the app. And so just really being intentional with your time with it, being mindful of when you are mindlessly scrolling and catching yourself on that and like redirecting yourself. And I feel like it's very helpful for me, especially if I go on like Instagram or TikTok, especially. TikTok's one of my ones that I get really sucked up into. I could watch it, especially if I'm like doing laundry or dishes or whatever. I can just scroll. And so I really have to be mindful when I'm getting on these apps of what's my goal, what am I getting on to go do, especially when it comes to my business, because I want to be making the most of my time and getting the best results from that, and really focusing on like the things that are going to move the needle in my business and going to make me money, and cutting out the mindless extra work. So I want to go in with a goal in mind of, okay, I'm going in to post this reel, I'm going in to make this reel, I'm going in to post on my stories, I'm going in to interact with people and engage with people for 10, 15 minutes. I'm going in to respond to DMs, like really knowing here's what I'm going to do so that I can help keep myself focused and easily redirect myself if I find myself distracted or mindlessly scrolling in the process. So that really is something that has helped me out and just kept me on track. And it's also just really cuts down on how much time you end up spending on the app, because especially if you get sucked into mindless scrolling a lot, that can really be a time consumer for you, where you could have been using that time to work on your business more. So especially if it's time that you've set aside for social media to be working on content, to be responding to people, whatever it is, just really being intentional at that time and staying on track, and being like self-aware of your actions and having like the self-control enough to like redirect yourself when you find yourself getting distracted. So that's the first one. The second one is, just being mindful of who you're following. One thing that I've notice as I look back on just my overall years of social media use, I've always been someone that really likes social media and have been very active on it throughout the years since I was a teenager. And one thing I've noticed, especially looking back in hindsight, is that like the people I was following and the people whose content I was seeing consistently and watching their stories a lot, watching their TikToks a lot, listening to people's podcasts and things like that, like their content becomes a narrative for you. It does end up even sometimes subconsciously shaping the way that you view the world, shaping the way that you believe, like the kinds of beliefs that you have, what you feel is possible for yourself. And it really affects like your day-to-day. And I think that's something I wasn't very mindful of to begin with. And so it's been really beneficial for me to really be thinking about who I'm following and the kind of content they're putting out and how it makes me feel. Because it might not be that they're necessarily putting out negative content or saying mean things or trying to put people down or, intentionally being negative, but the effect of their content could still have like a negative effect for me. Hopefully that makes sense. So I really try to be mindful of who I'm following and give myself permission to unfollow and mute any accounts that are just no longer serving me, no longer making me feel uplifted, no longer making me feel just good generally. Like I said, they might not have necessarily bad or negative content, but if like it's rubbing me the wrong way, I'm not vibing with it, I don't feel aligned with it, then that might be someone to unfollow or mute. Or this could also especially be with accounts or people who just generally are like triggering for you for whatever reason. Like it's okay to unfollow or mute that account so that you don't see their content at all or very much at all. And this could be, especially once I got into the education space of the industry, I felt a lot of imposter syndrome and just what are other people doing, feeling like I needed to be similar to them, or why are, oh my gosh, they're so much better than me, whatever. Like I really struggled with that. And so I think one of the things that really helped me was just putting my blinders on and focusing on myself and my business and what I'm working on and how I can be serving my clients, how I can be serving my students. And so unfollowing or muting accounts that were triggering for me in that way and making me feel imposter syndrome or making me feel like comparison or making me feel like I couldn't show up fully and authentically as like who I am and what I stand for in business and what I teach in business, then it was okay to unfollow or mute those accounts. And that was really helpful for me. And that boundary really has made social media like a healthier place for me. And it's not that like I don't love or support these other accounts or these people, but it's just that I need to focus on myself and my students. And without that like mindset, imposter syndrome, like triggering me every day I get on social media. Because if that's the case, like it's going to make you not want to show up. Like if you are following accounts that make you feel bad about yourself or making you like feel like you need to compare yourself or whatever it is, then it's like you're not going to want to get on and post for your business or like spend time on there, and so then you're going to avoid it. So that has just really helped me to make it like a healthier place and be able to show up consistently and not run into so much comparison and imposter syndrome in the online space. So give yourself that permission. It's okay to unfollow or mute people and just set that boundary and make it a healthier place for you to show up in. And so the next one is to set response hours. Now, this isn't more so like essentially saying, especially with clients, like, here are my business hours. You know, you might work and take clients from 9 to 5 or whatever, that's just throwing out an example time frame, but you could be like responding to messages from like 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. or however you want it to be, like have those response hours. And you can communicate that to your clients, but you're likely still going to get people messaging you, whether they're clients or not, after those hours or in the middle of the night or super early in the morning. And it's hard to control other people's actions. You can't control other people's actions, but what you can control is holding your own boundary with that and respecting yourself enough to hold that boundary and not respond to people outside of your response hours or your business hours. And that has really been beneficial for me to just be able to like set work aside and focus on my kids and focus on my husband and like focus on things at home and not always be so sucked up into my business and feeling like I always have to respond to people and I need to be in the DMs at 10 p.m. at night. Like, no, I mean, it is important to get back to people in a timely manner. So yes, go get on and respond to them the next day, but you don't have to respond to people at 5 a.m. You don't have to respond to people at 9:30 p.m. And you're allowed to respect that boundary and hold that boundary for yourself and keep that a good, like, healthy relationship, not even just with the working relationship you have with like your clients, but also the relationship you have with social media and the time that you're spending on it and when you're on it. So that's another one that's been very beneficial for me. And the next one is to kind of ties in with your response hours, but to set up the auto responders on like Instagram messaging, and like I think you can do it on Facebook messaging as well, to where you have set questions and like set responses, and they can click on one of the questions and get like an automatic response to it. So you can make these questions like your frequently asked questions, like how do I book with you? What are your prices? Where are you located? Things like that, and have those auto responses so that it's cutting down on the time you have to spend in the DMs and it's getting back to people faster. And with these, you can always redirect them in your responses back to your website or your online booking site that has more information. So if it's like, where are you located? You know, I'm located in this city or this area. Here's my website where you can find more information about booking a service or where I'm located or whatever. Like, redirect them back to your website. This is also something that you can do with like your voicemail on your phone too, if you have like a business phone, or even if you use your personal phone. Like, you can say in your voicemail message, like, just redirect people back to your website. Like, if you're interested in booking an appointment, if you want to get more information about services, here's my website where you can get all the information you need, and redirect them back to that. And that really helps cut down on time that you're having to spend online and time you're having to spend in the DMs of people. I mean, there's probably still going to be some other questions and things that you'll still have to go through and answer, but I feel like that was really helpful for me when I put those into place. So the next one is focusing on the quality of your content over the quantity of your content. Now, if you listen to last week's podcast episode, we talked about this a lot. So if you want to go more in depth on this one, jump back to last week's episode and listen to that. It's just a quick mini episode on your content creation and different types of like content that have helped me book clients more and just more quality ideas for content. But this is really just saying, like, with this boundary, it's like you don't need to post multiple times a day or even every day to book clients. Like, you can do what feels most aligned for you. But what I see with my students and what I see in like Facebook groups and online and such is that people, when they feel like they need to post multiple times a day, or when they are posting multiple times a day, like that leads to burnout so quickly. Trying to keep up on the content that you're posting and spending all the time to post it and being online and spending that much time, it leads to burnout so quickly. So this is why I preach and teach like quality over quantity in your content all day, every day, because it's really going to allow you to more effectively book clients and not spend so much time online. So, just really getting intentional with your content. And if you're not sure like what to do to shift that and shift into like content that's really going to move the needle without having to post multiple times a day, I have a free content guide. I'm going to link it in the show notes, but it's a free content guide for you. It has 26 different social media content ideas for beauty professionals, and this can be for anyone, not just lash artists. So hairstylists, nail techs, spray tan artists, estheticians, whatever you do within the beauty industry, like these ideas are going to be applicable to you. And so I'll put that link for the free download in the show notes. And then, like I said, we talked about this on last week's episode, so you can go back and listen to that as well if content is a struggle for you, because it does seem to be like one of the overarching struggles for solo beauty business owners in the industry. So that really helped me to just not have to post so much and not have to feel like I need to show up 24/7 and still be able to like grow my business. So that's number 5. Number 6, and like the final one that we're going to talk about, is utilizing the block button when necessary. Now, obviously this is going to be like, I don't want to call it extreme necessarily, but this is all about like protecting your peace and your energy, and especially in the online space where it can be very visible to other people and other business owners and people who may just not see like the big picture vision for you or whatever it is. Like, it's okay to block people, especially if people are leaving hate comments or being mean in the messages or whatever it is. Like, it's okay to utilize that. Now, I will say with this, if it's a problem client and you're having issues with them, I personally, now this is how I see things, is I see advice given a lot in Facebook groups that are like, just block them and be done with it. And I don't fully agree with that. I feel like it's your job as the business owner to try and resolve the issue and communicate professionally and like do what you can to serve them within your boundaries. I don't think it's very good business practice to just block people, like problem clients, or like block clients that you're having issues with immediately off the bat. However, there are cases where, you can do everything you can and then maybe it's just better to block them after the fact. But as far as social media goes, I really mean like use the block button when necessary when it comes to like haters and people being mean and just whatever it is. Because one thing I've noticed, especially on Instagram, I haven't run into this on TikTok pretty much at all so far, but on Instagram, especially if I have a reel that does really well or goes like viral, semi-viral, there's typically a hate comment or two, or just people being mean. And I think it's just better to just block them and move on and not like use your energy to respond to that. I feel like it's just better to keep your peace and like protect your peace. So that's when I say, like, just use the block button. You don't have to go back and forth with people like that. They just don't. You see it. And it's a projection thing too. Like, they're projecting their own feelings and issues and insecurities. And sometimes it's just better to just block them and be done with it. So that's another boundary that you can set for yourself with social media as well. And just make it like a healthier place for you to be. So these are 6 different boundaries that you can set with your social media use and the way that you're using it to make it a healthier relationship for you with social media and be able to book clients more without running into as many of the negative side effects of it. And, just to close out this episode, I I'm sure we've all heard the phrase of like, who you surround yourself with becomes like who you are too. Like, the people you surround yourself with, the friends you surround yourself with. I think that this is insanely true on social media as well. Like the people that you follow and the people you interact with and the people you are having conversations with, their content, you're consuming it, like that affects you, and it affects the way that you see the world, and affects the way that you run your business, and it affects like your beliefs and your mindset and all of these different kinds of things. So just really like be aware of that, be mindful of that, and do what you need to do to set yourself up and surround yourself with good people on social media too, people who are going to be uplifting for you and encouraging for you. And especially in the business world and such, that is like so important. People who inspire you and encourage you and cheer you on. And I feel like you can really easily make like friends, and especially like small business friends. I shared a post, I think like last week, about how like no one cheers you on harder than like your small business friends you've met on Instagram. And I feel like that's so true. And I think everyone can benefit from that. Just like the support that can be found on there. So if that's not something that you're experiencing, or you're running into like issues with people, or just not feeling uplifted by them, like block or unmute or unfollow or protect your peace. Like you come first. And so I hope that these 6 boundaries were really helpful for you to just have a way to like navigate these social media issues that can come up sometimes. And I know it was a short episode, but I feel like it's going to be really beneficial for people, and hopefully can be something that starts more of a conversation about it, because we hear so much about how social media sucks and social media this, social media that, whatever. But if it really is truly a place that you want to show up and build your business on, like let's find some sustainable ways to navigate through that. So I hope that this can be just a different conversation to continue to be had in the industry, because I feel like it's been lacking thus far. But I also feel like it's a very important conversation to have. So if you found this helpful at all, please screenshot it, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me, and share what was most beneficial for you. Like, what was your biggest takeaway from the episode? Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want that free content guide, it will be down, the link for it will be down in the show notes. If you guys have questions in the meantime, if you need support, if you have social media questions, whatever it is, feel free to reach out to me over on Instagram at XOEricaSchramm. I'll put the link for that in the show notes as well. But have a great week, and I'll talk to you again next week.